Hi guys, my name is Karthik and I am from executeautomation.com and welcome to another video of our EA Weekend video series. And today's weekend we are going to talk about Unified Open SDK of TestProject. We already discussed about this Unified Open SDK of TestProject during the day the SDK was launched, and we also discussed how to leverage the power of Open SDK to write native Selenium and Appium test code in much simpler fashion. And today we are actually going to do pretty much exactly like how we discussed earlier, but just that in a more elaborated fashion. So we are going to discuss about the same concept in a way to compare how TestProject earlier SDK was and how the new SDK has transformed the way it has addressed all the pain points. Alright, so let's get started. We all know TestProject Java SDK was the first SDK released by TestProject, which we can use to perform operations such as writing custom tests with our own IDE of choice and run it back in TestProject's platform after uploading it onto the platform. And then we can write custom add-ons and also export to the TestProject platform so that we can use the custom add-on within our test and see how that actually works. So there are many different types of add-ons available, and you can use any one of the add-ons within TestProject's platform. There are some add-ons which are created by the TestProject team itself, and there are some add-ons which are created by the community, or you can also contribute for creating the add-ons and then you can use it. So that's what it is. So you can write your own custom add-ons and then you can export to TestProject platform using the TestProject's Java SDK or the languages which is supported by TestProject. And the code which is generated from the TestProject test will also be TestProject SDK support, which can be used for then extending the code within our local machine, and then we can export it back to TestProject's platform and then we can execute it. So these are the things that we can do with the TestProject SDK itself. But there are some pain points with this model which test projects want to unify or maybe oversimplify. So we have seen that there are some pain points in the earlier TestProject SDK. Something like TestProject forces community to use their own SDK library for every operation. So this was kind of a complaint from the community asking for modifying my existing code with the TestProject SDK. I need to go through a series of changes which makes the code more complex to be modified and which takes so much of time. So TestProject listened it, and now they have addressed this whole problem that community was talking about. And anyone wanting to see a powerful HTML PDF report in TestProject's platform, which TestProject does for free, they need to wrap the reporting code snippet on their custom test code so that they can really execute it and see if the report is being generated on the TestProject's platform, which was also a pain. And then every time to execute the test, we must upload the code to the platform and only then we can execute them, which is also something which TestProject's community was keep telling that in order to execute that, we have to do some sort of manual intervention like building up, packaging up, and then uploading that to the TestProject's platform. And also there requires a prescribed structure to be maintained in the project like Maven or Gradle project to upload the test and then run them on the TestProject platform. So these are some of the pain points which community felt that the TestProject needs to address so that the experience will be more seamless. So these pain points makes TestProject's SDK a bit less usable while testers likes to upgrade or modify their existing code to the TestProject's code. Also, it's pretty hard to use Cucumber or extent reporting along with TestProject custom code due to the SDK's restriction, because you have to forcefully use the TestProject SDK to actually use all the operation like send keys or opening a browser, or even you need to maintain the structure which all restricts the code to not use a Cucumber or extent reporting or something like that. Just for an example, you can see that this is what it is. I mean, you need to use all the libraries of the TestProject, something like this. And for the coding, we need to follow certain guidelines, like we need to implement the web test class, and then we need to call the execute method, which is then going to call the web test helper, which is then going to call a driver, where you can see that we need to use the driver.testproject.navigate to URL to actually navigate to the URL. And then in order to perform a reporting operation, we use the report.step operation to perform the reporting operation for each and every steps. And then we also need to use the runner as you can see in here, which is going to be calling this particular test that you have written by calling the run method of the runner class. So these are some of the pain point which actually does exist pre-OpenSDK era of TestProject. So now, what's the solution for all these problems that we have discussed so far? OpenSDK. That's the answer for all the problems that we have discussed right now. With TestProject's OpenSDK, users save a bunch of time and enjoy the following benefits out of the box. Something like 100% open source available as Maven dependency. All the code are available and you can directly use using the Maven dependencies, and 5 minutes simple Selenium and Appium setup with single agent deployment. That is nothing but the installation of agent itself within your machine. And then automatic test reporting in HTML PDF report, including the screenshot. So this is one of the most interesting concept of the OpenSDK itself. We can now execute the code and we don't really have to add the reporting steps, something like that, like what we saw on the screenshots before. Everything is going to happen automatically, and all these failure screenshot and everything is going to be included within the reporting system of TestProject Platform. And there is a collaborative reporting dashboard with execution history, and you can access that from the RESTful API support. Always up to date with the latest and stable Selenium driver version, which is also pretty cool because most of the time you might have seen there is an outdated Chrome version within your machine, and the Chrome driver that you have in the machine will not support the Chrome that you have updated to. So you need to probably update that every time, which always kind of a pain, but TestProject does address that automatically, because once you update the TestProject agent, it is going to update all the drivers for you, and all the necessary driver will be available for you. So even if you use any older version of the Chrome, it is going to be supported for you automatically. And a simplified familiar syntax for both web and mobile application, which we already know. And there is a complete test runner capability for both local and remote execution anywhere. And finally, there is a cross-platform support for Mac, Windows, and Linux Docker container, along with the ability to store and execute tests locally on any source control tool such as Git, which is all pretty cool. So these are some of the greatest fantastic options available with the OpenSDK. And some of the most exciting thing which I would really think about is the Maven dependency and the test reporting in HTML and PDF file automatically, which is pretty cool. So what's the code change now once this OpenSDK is available for us? Well, what if I say just 2 lines of code maximum? I mean, that's the only thing that you need to be doing with your existing code, and you will see that your whole code is going to work. I have put an asterisk there. Maybe you need to add additional dependency or update the latest libraries in your code if there happens any issue in your test code execution, which we'll be probably discussing it, and I will show you what I really mean about it. But yes, this is what is the only code change that you'll be doing. The code change is this. You need to change the import org.openqa.selenium.chrome.chrome driver to io.testproject.sdk.driver.web.chrome driver. That's it. That's the first important change that you do. And because we have changed the Chrome driver, for sure, sequentially, you need to change the Chrome driver that you have called within your code as well, right? Because that's going to be using a different reference. So you need to actually use the Chrome driver, and then you need to pass the token. Again, this is the only thing, right? The token is the one place or the point where the TestProject agent within your code is going to communicate with the TestProject platform, and that's the authentication mechanism basically happens. So this is where we need to specify the token within the Chrome drivers, and that's it. If we do this, then all the code is going to work pretty much like how you do with your existing code, but you are actually running on the TestProject's platform or the TestProject agent, and then you will see all the reports that you have executed on the TestProject platform itself, including the automatic reporting and screenshot, which is pretty cool. And finally, we also need to add the dependency, and the dependency is going to look something like this. That's it. So if we add this dependency on the Maven, and if you're using Gradle, you need to update it the same thing, and then it just works without any problem. And with this comes the benefits as well. Now with native support of Selenium and Appium code along with the automatic reporting, TestProject opened a whole new way of using the SDK along with our existing code, which is pretty cool. So we can easily transition our code, and we can now use Cucumber, Extend Reporting, TestNG, or JUnit Test Runner, or whatever we want to use within our test code with TestProject, and it's all going to work without any problem seamlessly. And if you talk about how the reporting of the test project platform is going to look like, because everything is going to be dynamic, then it's going to be something like this. So automatically, test project takes the name of the test method as the test name and the package name as the project name. If you have not specified the project name itself, then everything is going to be automatically taken, and you can see that in the report, and you can see on the side all the steps are being shown there. So let's see all of them in action and understand how things work. So for that, I'm going to flip to my IntelliJ IDE. Alright, so now you can see in my screen, I have the TestProject SDK for Java, and this is the place where the OpenSDK resides. You can see that this is the dependency that we need to be adding for our OpenSDK, and this is the code that I was talking about. We need to just change this particular line of code and then this particular line of code, and that's it. The code will start executing. So I'm not really going to spend a lot of time to actually reinventing the wheel, so that I'm just going to copy paste this particular piece of code, because they already have a selectors which are all coming from the Selenium itself, rather coming from the test project, as you can see. And then I'm just going to use it, and we'll see how the test code is going to be generated and how the report is going to look like. So for that, I'm just going to open my IntelliJ IDE, and then I'm going to start creating a project for now. So the first one is I'm going to choose the Java version 11. So make sure you have Java version 11 or above, which is going to be very good. Or if you have OpenJDK, which is also very good, because it has some required libraries that we are looking for. So I'm just going to choose this guy right now. I'm going to hit next, and then I'm going to create a project from the template, which is the command line app. And I'm going to call this as TestProject OpenJDK. And I'm going to create into this tp_OpenJDK folder. And I'm going to just leave the base package name as com.ea. I'm just going to hit finish. So there you go. The IntelliJ IDE is now up and running. And this is the project. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to execute this code, and I'm going to see how it works. But before that, because I'm going to add the Maven, I'm just going to add a Maven framework support in here, so that it just works fine without any problem. And I'm just going to add some dependencies, as I told you. So the dependency is going to be this dependency, the test project. And I'm probably going to remove the classifier for now, just to keep things much simpler. And I'm going to run the Maven. There you go. So now the Maven has downloaded the required dependency for me, as you can see in here, which is all good. And now I'm just going to go to my project over here on the source, Java com.ea. And now over here, I'm just going to write my first code, which I have already seen on the GitHub page of test project, which is this one. So I'm just going to copy paste some of the code from here without even bothering to really writing the code. And you can see that once I do this, this Chrome driver comes in, and you can see that it tells me open org openqa selenium.chrome, but we are not really going to use the org openqa. Rather, we are going to use the one from the test project. As you can see, there are two dependencies coming in. So I'm just going to choose the test projects one over here. So you can see that a driver has been added. So let me increase the size of the font. All right. And now I'm going to include the Chrome options as well. We actually need to add the token here. So the token is nothing but the token which I'm just going to be passing in from our test project. So as you know that within our test project platform, we always have what is called as an integration option. And this is the token that we actually need for connecting our agent with the test project platform. So I'm just going to paste this guy over here. So we're pretty good right now. And now I'm going to build the project. And because we're getting this exception, we're probably going to throw the exceptions as well. If not, it's going to complain us to not execute this. And that's the reason we're getting this particular exception. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to build this project once again. You can see that it is all pretty good right now. And now I'm just going to execute this code, and I'm going to see what's going to basically happen. So now if I try to execute this test, basically my test project agent is updated to the latest version of test project agent from the platform. And now it is trying to open the browser. As you can see, it has connected to the test project agent. Now it is running on the test project agent, but all the test execution which is happening right now, the report is going to send to the test project platform itself. So now if I go to the test project platform And you can see that anywhere I have not even specified the test name or the project name, nothing, right? It's just a plain Java test which I'm currently executing. And if I go to the home or go to the monitor, you can see that the com.ea.main, this is the test I just executed right now, and the report is being generated. So if I just click this view report, and you can see that the report has come through, which is all good. And you can see that it shows me the main method, and this is the test name. It eventually took that for me. And this is the project name, like com.ea.main. And now if I click the full report, you can see that generates the PDF reports for me. It is ready now. And if I open the report, you can see that it generates a report as well. And this report will now have my name, and it is running on my Mac operating system, which is all pretty cool. And it also shows me all the values which I'm looking for magically, guys. So it's all coming by itself without even me doing anything within my code. I just copy pasted the code, and you can see that none of the code actually shows anywhere about the reporting on the code, and it's all working without any problem. Super oversimplified coding with this OpenSDK of the test project. And the next thing what I'm going to do is just to quickly showcase you is I'm not going to actually use this particular code which I just copy pasted it. Rather, I'm going to try out and see what if I use the Selenium with Java, Cucumber, and extend reporting. So if you have already seen the GitHub repo of the execute automation, where we already have a project called as Selenium with Cucumber, this one, and it has the code which includes the Cucumber JVM5, and it has the BDD features, and it has the extend reportings and stuff. So everything is sitting over here. So we can probably use this particular code this time, and we'll see how this particular code actually executes and work with the TestProject platform. So for doing that, I'm actually going to open the item terminal, and I'm going to create a directory called as Selenium Cucumber test project maybe. And I'm just going to go to the Selenium Cucumber test project. And over here, I'm just going to do a git clone of this particular project that I just copied. And I'm going to open the IntelliJ IDE for that particular project. Maybe I'll open the new window. All right, so this is the project. I'm just going to save it, and I'm just going to execute this code, and I will see if this code actually works. So you can see that it actually works without any problem. So this is the exact same code which I have taken from the GitHub repo, and that's the reason it is actually working. And now I'm actually going to modify this code to work with the TestProject new OpenSDK. So for doing that, as we did on our earlier video, so the first thing is I'm just going to copy this particular dependencies, maybe this particular dependency. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go to the pom.xml file, and I'm going to paste this guy over here. And as I told you, we need to somehow update our older libraries. If not, there's going to be some sort of error on the test project side itself. And it's because we need to make sure that all the libraries are compatible. If not, you get a different sort of error. But as of now, I'm just going to hold all these issues. I can probably show you what issue we can actually get it, but let it be all over here. And by the way, I also want to show you a different way of actually invoking the test project's Chrome driver using what is called as a driver builder. So it is also available in the documentation. If you can go over here on the documentation, Chrome driver or driver builder, something like this. So we can maybe use this one this time to see how our test code can be executed. So I'm just going to go all the way to the hooks, and instead of this particular piece of code that we have seen over here, I'm just going to use this guy, the driver builder. So let me go to the pom.xml file once again, and let me try to run the Maven. And now let me go to this guy. So this is the Chrome options. So I'm just going to add that, import classes. And also, because we are currently using the Selenium 4 in this particular project, and we know that Selenium 4 is not yet released, but for this particular repo, I have actually shown the usage of Selenium 4. So I'm just going to probably completely remove the Selenium 4 from here, from the dependencies, because I don't really require this, because TestProject will take care of for me everything, because that's the power of TestProject itself. So I'm just going to remove this, and I'm going to go back to the hook. And the driver builder, let me add the driver builder over here. And this is the Chrome driver. So I'm gonna add the Chrome driver here. So let's remove this Chrome driver because we don't really require this Chrome driver from here. And this Chrome driver is nothing but the test project's Chrome driver, this one. For the project name, like my first project, which shows in here, probably I can change it something like my test project. And let's call this job as maybe first test job. I also need to specify the token because without token, the authentication is not going to happen. So I'm just going to copy the token which I just used in this particular code as well. So I'm just going to copy this token and I'm going to paste it over here. I'm going to save it. That's it. I guess this is the change that I really need to make within my code, and the code will start working. But the code will now not work. There will be an exception, which I already know. And I say no, because there is an outdated version of library which I'm using in this particular project. And this is in GitHub repo. I know for sure that this has not updated a lot of time. And you can see that we're getting a different error this time. It's because if I go to the main over here, we are using the Seleniums. Probably I don't really require these codes over here. Let me save it. And if I try to run it now, you can see that it is starting to run, but something has happened and the test execution has stopped. It throws me an error. It says that failed to create an instance of the io.testproject.sdk of the driver of Chrome driver. And the reason of this particular exception is pretty vast, but the simplest answer is the library which I'm using currently within my project is actually not compatible with the test project library which I'm using. So that's the reason it tells me that caused by a java.lang.no such method error, and it is coming over here. So in order to fix this particular problem, I actually need to update all the libraries which I already have within my pom.xml file to the latest version because these versions are outdated. Or I can add one more dependency which I really require. This is not the whole solution basically. If you get this particular problem, maybe you get a different form of problem, so you need to go and dig around and fix that. I have actually digged it with the help of TestProject team, and we figured out that this issue is because of one of my libraries kind of using an outdated version of this particular Guava, and that's the reason it is failing. So yes, this one is now gonna fix this particular problem that we currently saw. So I'm just gonna update this particular library in my pom.xml file, and now I'm just going to execute this code and we'll see what's basically going to happen. And also, before I forget what I copy pasted, I actually didn't use the base.driver instead of the Chrome driver, so I actually need to remove that and I need to update this. So this one is also going to throw me an error. I just missed this one, and now I'm just going to execute this code and we'll see what's going to basically happen. So now you can see that the Chrome browser just opened, and now it's also executing the test for me. It just completed one test, and now it is opening the browser once again, and it is also running the second test for me, and the test got passed without any problem. So you can see that right now I'm actually using the power of Cucumber, TestNG, extent reporting, and I'm running the test for me with the test project without even any code change, but just that the Chrome driver has been updated. That's it. That's the only change which I have made, except that I have added a couple more reference. The reason being there is an outdated version of library and the test got successfully completed. And now if I go to the test project reporting, and if I go to the monitor here, which is the right way for me to get into the latest version of report, and you can see that I get this particular report, the first test job which we just created. And if you go to the hooks, it was actually the first test job that we created, and we executed a couple of times, and that's the reason we see a lot of report there. And you can see that the first test job's coming, and if I open this, you can see that the report is coming and it shows like runs Cucumber scenario, which is all pretty cool. And now if I get the full report over here, and you can see that this full report actually has all the detailed execution summary of our test which has executed, and you can see all the details is being shown in here, which is all pretty cool. This is the power of the test project's new OpenSDK, which is provided by the test project team, and this is really, really awesome. And this has really opened a new way of working with test project instead of just relying on the test project's earlier SDK's ecosystem. But now test project has opened it to the native support of your early code. So you can see that all the code like page object models, Cucumber, and extent reporting, and even we are using the TestNG as a runner to run the test. So all working fine without any problem, and that's the power. So once again, thank you very much for watching this video, and you have a great day.